Now it's time. Senator Rick Santorum here finally to respond. He joins us now on the phone. Senator, good to have you. A lot of folks say you committed political suicide.
Oh, Neil, this is just laughable. I'm out here running, sacrificing my time and my energy and my family, committed myself and traveling around this country saying the highest priority of this country is defeat Barack Obama. And what I was saying there is that if we don't have a choice, then the American public may decide to keep Barack Obama. That's all I've said. I've said it in every speech. This is the hatchet job of all time. I've said repeatedly that the number one priority is beating Barack Obama. I'd support anybody. And they said, would you support Ron Paul? Of course I'd support anybody on the Republican ticket, and I said it throughout the course of this campaign. This is a Romney and a Gingrich campaign that it cannot focus on the issues. And the issues are that they are uniquely disqualified from taking on President Obama on the biggest issues of the day. That's the point I was making yesterday. It's the point I will continue to make. Mitt Romney and Romney Care, we have the anniversary of Obamacare, which was a blueprint of Romney Care that designed Obamacare, and he stands by. This is the amazing thing. He stands by government-run health care in Massachusetts. He stands by the imposition of an individual mandate requiring everybody to purchase insurance, something that 75% of Americans are against. And that's why I stood up and said, we need someone who can draw the starker contrast on the things that are crushing this economy, driving up unemployment rates, exploiting the size of the federal government, and someone who has strong and clear track record.
But you can see why they're confused, right, Senator? But hear back what you said. Senator, you said if you're going to be a little different, we might as well stay with what we have instead of taking a risk with what may be an Etch-a-Sketch can in the future. Those are your words, Senator.
Yeah, what I said, we, meaning we, the people, might, not me. I'm not saying, I've always said I'd never vote for Barack Obama. Are you kidding me? What do you think I'm doing this for? Do you think because I like Barack Obama and because it's so absurd it's not even worth printing, but you folks are all wound up because, well, of a we, meaning a general we as in the people, as opposed to being
Senator,
me.
I'm not wound up. I'm talking about some conservative supporters of yours who were and are. I'm talking about one of the pundits on air saying, faced with the reality, the chances of collapse, the sweater vest is unraveled. Kevin Glass, the managing editor of Town Hall. Did everyone take stupid pills this week? How could he have not seen this coming? Are they just watching a different speech?
Well, they are. Because when I've said we, I meant the American public. I've said it in every single speech. I've said it for a year, that if we don't give the people of America a contrast in this election, we're not going to be successful. That's the point I've been making. That's why I said that we need a strong conservative, and to take that we and say, oh, I meant me, that I wouldn't vote. No, I was saying the people may not vote for someone who they don't see as a different.
So what you're saying is that you see, okay, but Senator, then are you saying that people would, so let's say some of the conservative members of the party would sooner stay home than vote for Mitt Romney or vote for Barack Obama instead?
I'm saying trying to win the election. We're trying to get the votes, the majority, to win the election.
But you're not saying that you, Rick Santorum, Mitt Romney were the nominee. You're not saying that you wouldn't vote for him in that event.
Neil, go back and look at every statement I've made about who I'd always have said I would vote for the nominee of the Republican Party, no matter who it was. I mean, this is a made-up story because we took we being the people and made it we being me. That's just absurd. It's laughable. The idea that this is a gaffe is a joke. Every speech I give, I talk about how we have to have a sharp contrast, that we can't have someone who's just a little better than Barack Obama. He's not better at all on the issue of health care. He implemented Romney Care, defends individual mandates, defends government-run health care at a state level. He supported cap and trade. He supported the idea of man-made global warming. He supported the Wall Street bailouts. He supported a whole host of things that have government control of people's lives that's grinding this economy to a halt. And that's why we need someone who can make Barack Obama the issue in this election, not the policies that he has supported that have failed this economy that Governor Romney has also supported.
So, Senator, are you saying that Mitt Romney isn't much different than Barack Obama?
On those issues, he's not. Obviously, he's different on some other issues.
Then why 4 years ago did you say he was a true conservative? What changed in those 4 years?
Well, a couple of things changed. First off, he went out and supported a Wall Street bailout after he said he was not for government involvement. He wasn't for big government control of things. Secondly, he went out and advocated for Romney Care as the model for Obamacare. This is someone who said, I believe in a state level, and then went out and advocated for the Massachusetts model. Someone who didn't learn from the mistake that he made, that he said he had repented on, that he had been on the wrong side of a variety of issues, but now he was going to run as a conservative. Well, I took him for his word. I shouldn't have. The Etch-a-Sketch model is exactly what we have. We have someone who continues to reshape his message. Just look what he did last week in Puerto Rico, Neil. He went down to Puerto Rico after I had the courage to stand up and tell the people of Puerto Rico, when they asked, would you admit Puerto Rico as a state if only 15% of the people in Puerto Rico spoke English? I said, no, English has to be taught in the schools. It has to be the official language of this country as well as of a state of Puerto Rico, and they would have to learn English, obviously, as well as be able to speak and learn Spanish. Well, I got a huge blowback down there. So what did Romney do? Someone who, like me, says English should be the official language of this country, he went down to Puerto Rico and said, no, I'll admit Puerto Rico as a state even if you don't speak English. This is the kind of pandering, the Etch-a-Sketch candidate that is going to get us in huge trouble in the general election, because there won't be defining differences. There won't be the issue of what does he at his core believe versus what Barack Obama, at his core believes.
But, Senator, what does stop people from listening to you now? And obviously you feel very passionate about this and saying, well, he clearly doesn't flip over Mitt Romney at all. So what's to stop them from saying this guy wouldn't support Mitt Romney as a nominee? He doesn't think he deserves a nomination, but if Mitt Romney were the nominee...
I wouldn't be running against him if I thought he deserved the nomination.
I know, but if he's the nominee, you're saying with all of these warts, all of these problems, he would still be better than Barack Obama.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And you apply that to Ron Paul and Newt Gingrich as well.
Absolutely. Look, I think Ron Paul would be, horrible on national security. I actually think Romney would be actually pretty good on national security. So that's one area. There'd be a very clear difference, and I think Governor Romney has articulated positions and pretty much consistent with mine. But on the core issues that are at stake in this election of government control of your life, that's where the problem is. And that's where I don't think the differences are, and I think those happen to be very important reasons in this election.
No, I understand what you're saying, Senator, but you know what this harkens back to? A lot of folks who are saying it was very similar to the dissent expressed among conservatives in 1976, those who supported Ronald Reagan in his darn near victorious battle against an incumbent President Gerald Ford, that they didn't vote for Jimmy Carter that year after Reagan narrowly lost. They just didn't vote that year. What do you say to supporters of yours who, despite you're saying you would support Governor Romney should he become the Republican nominee, who would say no, they would rather be at home?
You should support the Republican nominee. And Neil, last week Governor Romney called me an economic lightweight, and why would we replace one economic lightweight with another? Now, did you go out and roll and say, oh, obviously he's not going to support Rick Santorum? He replaced one economic lightweight with another. Our campaign didn't say that. We understood.
But I have to be fair, Senator, I have talked to Governor Romney on this and many issues. Would he support you as a nominee? Newt Gingrich, Ron Paul, he's always said yes, and the others have said that, and everyone says that. You're saying you would as well, right?
I've always said yes. I've never said anything to the contrary. And
so what do you think of the reaction that this is getting?
Here's the point. Because the Romney campaign has decided, since they cannot make the issue about what the issues are in this campaign, because he has failed to be able to convince the people of this country and Republicans and conservatives that he is actually worthy of their support because they can trust him to do what he now at least says he wants to do, that they make it about things that aren't real issues. I could have gone out and said, oh, Governor Romney, it's the most insulting thing in the world that he said that he would vote for Barack Obama over me, and there's no difference. But you know what? I don't play those games. I'm more focused on what voters care about, and what they care about is what you're going to do as president, not whether your campaign can spin a story.
So when you hear this back and forth, and you've heard it before, Senator, you and I discussed this before, that this back and forth, the later it drags on, however you want to characterize it, hurts whoever the nominee would be, whether it's you or whether it's Governor Romney, and that it's going to do serious damage to the party. What do you say to that?
Well, look at the serious damage of having Romney's top aides say that he is going to hit the reset button after the primary when he's asked if he's been moved too far to the right. He's going to hit the reset button, take the Etch-a-Sketch out, and start a whole new campaign. Now, they can spin that any way they want, but this is what is the concern of Republicans and conservatives in this race, that we don't have anybody who really stands for the core convictions that the Republican Party and conservatives believe in, and that's why he's having trouble. This nomination, given the fact he's outspending every candidate 10-1, he has every endorsement, he has all the party backing, and yet he can't close the deal. And he can't close the deal because people don't trust that he is someone that he now espouses to be, because he's always espoused what he needs to be in the election that is in front of him. That's the problem, and that's why we need to get this nomination right. We need to go to a convention, or if necessary, and make sure that we get a conservative nominee for our party.
And if you don't do it this time around, is this Rick Santorum's way of saying, I'm really running for 2016?
Oh, my gosh, you kidding me? Yeah, Neil, let me just tell you, this has been an amazing experience, but I'm not doing this for 4 years from now. I'm not doing this for any position. I'm doing this because I think the country is in serious problems right now, and if Barack Obama is elected, I say in every single speech that if Barack Obama is reelected, the freedom that my grandfather and my father fought for and that generations of Americans fought for could very well be lost and lost forever. And as a result of that, the idea that I would even contemplate voting for Barack Obama over any Republican, period, is outrageous. And anyone that's followed my speeches and followed what I've done knows that. And this is why this is such a joke and a creation of the political Romney class instead of real conservatives who understand what's at stake.
All right. Senator, very good having you. Be well.
My pleasure so much.
Senator Rick Santorum. The Mitt Romney campaign, what do you think? Satisfied with that response or not? Fair and balanced, their view is next.